Many street dogs are there around, and they're not getting food right now
Yeah.
because human is gone into a lockdown stage and they are not coming out. So many street dogs, which are we were dependent on some kind of restaurants or some kind of small these kitchens and other thing, and maybe on whatever thrown out actually that so from the people they're not getting food. So please be little considerate if they can cook little extra food for those animals and they can just step out and give food to them. I think it is probably going to make a difference to them at least.
Good afternoon, Dr. Pawan Kumar. How are you?
I'm doing good. Good afternoon to you also.
Good to have you here. And
Thank you
we
so much.
already started getting questions even before you joined. So I guess people are very excited to have you and, ask you a lot of questions. But before we dive into that, uh, I had a few questions about, your journey till now. So how did you go about starting your clinic?
Yeah, so we started like I did my master's in surgery from Bangalore, and we started a small practice, a small clinic of 100 square feet area. But we had a vision that we definitely need to want to revolutionize veterinary practice in India. So we started with one person, like that is me. Then one person became two, and two became five. One small clinic, which was 100 square feet area, became one three-bedroom house. We made it as a hospital. Then that hospital, then we took another land and we started a five-story, one kind of a big structure and hospital. So with all kind of facilities and everything what we can. Then from one hospital, now we have almost five hospitals in different part of country. One we have in Gurgaon, three hospitals we have in Bangalore, and one hospital is coming up in Mumbai. So in India, kind of veterinary is a very, very primitive science, and it's not as developed as medical hospitals. But I think as human babies, they deserve everything, and we believe that pets also deserve everything what human can. And so we are kind
Absolutely.
of we are with a kind of target and mission, and with a kind of approach that we want to revolutionize veterinary practice all over India, and probably take it to the global route as well.
You are the pioneer in that, in having your veterinary clinic and hospitals, go around India. You're the first one to do it. So, I mean, that itself shows a lot about your passion and how you care deeply about this field in India, which has fairly, even though we have a lot of pet lovers, has been a bit neglected, like you said. It's not at the
That's
same
true.
level as the human cares. So, I'm very curious to begin with. Why is your clinic called Cessna, which is a small airplane?
Okay, so Cessna basically is a kind of one a very good volunteer, and she was a very dedicated lady. She used to look after lots of stray dogs. So this used to be her favorite dog. So that was a kind of crossbreed, and so that is one dog which was very lovely. And I started first time I did peritoneal dialysis on that dog. That is many years before, and I think that is the one dog which has actually touched something of inner of mine, and which made me to think that I think this is the a practice which I should invest my time, energy, and life. So that was a kind of crossbreed, but it is not like kind of some kind of. But it's kind of very important for me to motivate and to take my
Yeah.
career further, and that's how I started. So it's actually the name of a dog, and on that name I kept the name as Cessna Lifeline.
That's very sweet.
Thank
And so,
you.
are your all five clinics operational during this lockdown?
So we all practices are working. See, in Mumbai, we have not started yet because our hospital is ready, but we have not done the inauguration yet. But because
Okay.
of this one itself, but otherwise all four hospitals are functioning. But we are right now we are running only for emergency, and we are requesting the client not to kind of for simple issues better they don't come. And but we are definitely running kind of for all the facilities for all the emergency and major concerns actually.
And what are your timings right now that you're operating?
For example, we have in Bangalore, so we are 24 hours, like anytime, so we have staff across. We have reduced the staff to only to 40% level, but we works 24 hours. Anytime, any emergency can be taken care. In Sadasiv Nagar, it is like only during the daytime. Same thing in Electronic City, we have another hospital which is during the daytime. In Gurgaon, we are there 24 hours. So,
Okay.
anytime, they can kind of come and take help actually. So, but for other clients, across the world actually, if some client has some kind of concerns or medical concern, which can be of minor nature or a severe nature, we have an e-consultation facility also, and we have started a link. They can go to our website or they can approach even through the DogSpot, and they can get that link and they can. So it's a free consultation for the needy pet parents. So we have started that facility from last 4 days actually.
Okay, I think that's amazing because since all of us are in lockdown and we spend a lot of time online, and I
That's right.
understand, I have 2 dogs of my own, and like my German Shepherd was not feeling well, and I panicked a little bit. So it's good to have this facility. So guys, you can go on to cessnalifeline.com and fill out a form which will ask you some questions, basic questions, and the doc or his team will get back to you on how to approach it. So you have at least one immediate point of contact with a veterinary specialist that will tell you if you need to bring your dog in or not, instead of just sitting there and worrying about what to do about it. So I think that's great, Dr. Pawan Kumar. I think that ties in with your vision of, I don't know anyone else who's doing this or even has this facility.
Yes, it is something I was thinking, because it is not only for India, it is across the world. Anyone has some concerns, we can call them up through the mail, we can help them. And because many countries where, there is veterinary clinics are almost shut down completely.
Right.
And I have some friend in France, it's completely shut down. They don't have, because they're calling us from the France. And, they don't have, kind of facility. So we can, whatever possible way we can help them, by giving some kind of remedies which are human remedies. They can procure it from the nearby medical store, and they can use it to kind of, in these situations that some simple issues can be taken care. So we are kind of there to help. So we are getting quite a bit of inquiries, and we are helping them whichever the best way possible.
I think that's incredible. Like, I mean, that kind of resource, it's unheard of. And again, guys, if your friends are abroad and are struggling to find veterinary care for their pets, they can also go online. It's not limited to India. Like he said, he's consulting pet parents in France as well. So if someone is looking for an online resource, please direct them. And at DogSpot, we'll put up the information there as well. So, Dr. Pawan Kumar, before you joined, even I had a question, so I'm going to start asking questions as well. Sanjeevni had asked her dog is shedding way too many hair. What can she do?
Okay, so which breed that is? Any idea? Did you get an idea which breed?
No, she did not. Sanjeevni, if you're still online, can you tell us what breed is your dog?
That's okay, but I can take it as a general question and I can answer that. So there are two ways of kind of hair fall. If one reason, it can be a clinical reason, like the dog has some kind of skin infection like pyoderma or atopic dermatitis or allergy or those kind of things. Then you need a kind of medical intervention to kind of diagnose it and treat it. But the most common reasons, there are two reasons comes. One, it happens because of deficiency of omega fatty acid, which is very common reason, because we have hair mostly, like we use only the head hair. So, but dogs need like hair all over, so they need much more omega fatty acid in their diet. And there are so many common supplements that are available across the market. Like in human supplement can be used, which can come in the form of capsules or syrup. So as for the doses required and for the body weight of the dog, that supplement can be given for minimum for 1 month to 2 months, and that will definitely help to reduce their hair fall. Second reason sometimes can be seasonal also, because dogs have a molting behavior, and normally they get 2 seasons when they start shedding hair quite a bit. And I think for that, I will advise you right now, fortunately or unfortunately, they are at home, so they can do a really good brushing to the dog, and they can remove all the dead hair. So they can spend some half an hour or 45-minute time to really nicely groom him and brush him, so they can remove that hair. When they're taking the dog for a walk, and I think that is the time they can use like one brush and they can remove the dead hair. So because hair will come back. A dog hair is not like human hair that once it's gone, it's permanently gone. For dog, it will come back, so they don't need to worry for that.
Thank you. And Payal is asking, Snuffy, I'm guessing is her dog, has liver value high. What human food can be given to him?
Okay, so the liver values are high. So liver values can be high in multiple liver disease. It can be infections like leptospirosis, tick-borne infections and all. It can happen. The liver values can go high in the liver tumors or cancers, another thing. Sometimes liver value can increase because of certain medications also, like steroid or non-steroidal anti-inflammatory. It can be because of poisoning as well. But I think the first thing which I will probably request them, if the liver values are high, they should be focused to find the cause why the liver values are high. I think that should be their primary focus. But if they don't have availability of a doctor right now, I probably can suggest them they should try to give the food which is low fat diet, because if the liver values are high and liver is going to metabolize everything and fat will be a burden on the liver. So carbohydrate or protein based food should be okay. Like chicken can be given, egg white can be given. I think chapati, bread, or those kind of things okay. Uh, and if human food, they're kind of focused more. Any food which is more easily digestible, low fat food can be given actually. And milk also, there by chance, like in North India, they give quite a bit of milk. I think they should try to remove as much as fat possible, and they can use that as well. Rice can be used, but any food which is low fat food can be used actually for the liver patients.
Thank you. Adnan is here, our friend from K9 school. He has a question. He's saying, my bull mastiff Luna is in heat day 6 today. I plan to mate her, but no progesterone test, I think I said that right, available. Any suggestions to keep in mind during this time? Thanks.
I think there are two ways. The progesterone test is the best way to kind of get the heat detected and when to mate. But there was a time when there was no progesterone test also, and still mating and breeding was happening. So that is a little more broad way of doing it. I probably will advise, in case he has an access to a veterinarian, then normally we advise after 6th or 7th day he can start getting the vaginal smear test done every alternate day. Like for example, today is 6, so he can go to the hospital tomorrow. He can get a smear test done, and the doctor will be able to find how much percentage of cornified cells are there. If the cornified cells are more than 80%, then it is the right time to start the mating for the dog. And if the cornified cells are less, like less than 80% or 60%, then he should wait further for some more time. Like again, after 2 days, he can go to the vet and check. So whenever he finds the cornified cells are more than 80%, he can start mating every alternate day, and that could be the best way to deal with that. Third problems can be in this situation, he may not have access to veterinarian also. Then what to do in that case, how to make it. If the dog is in heat, vaguely I can tell that when there is a time when there is a lots of bleeding happens, and whenever he finds the bleeding is a little coming down, like if there is 100% bleeding happening and the bleeding becomes 50% during that time, and that is normally between 7th to 12th day. That is normally 7th to 12th day. That is the time, if he don't have access to veterinarian to do the smear test or progesterone test, he can start doing the mating every alternate day. Like for example, 7th day he can do, the 9th day he can do, then probably 11th day he can do, or 13th day he can do. So it will have a more probability of getting the conception for him. So that's something I would suggest. Like, so there are 3 options are available for him.
Thank you so much, Adnan. I think that was fairly helpful. A lot of options for you there. Okay, my husband is asking about a German Shepherd who is 7 years old and has a weak hind right leg. He's on glucosamine. Will CBD oil help him? How about long walks? What can I do?
Okay, so if he's been diagnosed with the osteoarthritis, has he been diagnosed with osteoarthritis?
Actually, what happened was he had a gluten allergy that we couldn't pinpoint for a while, and then he developed arthritis in his leg, but it hasn't deteriorated any further than the damage that happened while he was eating roti. So
I probably can, because first thing is, have you done the X-ray by chance for that VD hip X-ray? Have you done recently?
Not recently. After diagnosis, we did another X-ray after we took him off gluten after a year, and the damage had stopped. So I don't think his leg is worse. Just a little bit with age, he's I think also a little slow now.
Okay, so I'll tell you that. So most probably this seems to be case of osteoarthritis. Now there are two things are there. First thing which he and you have to understand that this osteoarthritis, whether it's a human or it's a dog's, you can't treat it, you can't cure it 100%. This becomes more management. So, and management involves a couple of very important steps actually. First thing is, I probably would suggest you that once in a year you should do his hip X-ray under proper sedation or with the proper guidance actually, which will tell you that how is his hip doing across the time actually that. So then you can take steps further. So that is one thing as a kind of monitoring step which I'll advise you. Second thing, which becomes very important, that actually, so though there are glucosamine and all those we use, but the best thing which can help your dog is the weight management. In orthopedic, yeah, so because that plays the most important role actually. In orthopedic, in a vaguely, what we advise that actually, for example, the ideal body weight for a German Shepherd is 30 kg. I'm just giving like a vague example, like 30 kg, and his weight becomes 31 kg. Every increase in 1 kg body weight, it put almost 7 times concussion on the joint actually.
Wow,
so
7 times.
Yeah, so you can see that one single kind of parameter, that is weight, is so much important. So if you keep his weight a little lower than normal, your weight, your kind of pet will have much better life, and actually sometimes can be without medications as well. So the weight is the most important part, and if you should focus on kind of decreasing his weight as much as possible. You should talk to your veterinarian, what weight plan he can advise, or there are some diets comes which are weight reduction diet which are available as per the requirement for the pet. And same thing applies for the dog. In case his weight, for example, keep increasing, so his pain will increase, his inflammation will increase, he will become more sluggish, he will become more weaker, he will not walk more, his weight will increase further actually. It becomes a vicious cycle. So what happens, and he he'll keep sleeping and he'll keep eating, he'll keep putting on more weight. So it becomes very difficult for you to reverse that cycle. So you need to act on the weight first. So that is the easiest and cheapest source of kind of management which you should act on. I think they'll advise. Second thing, which is like comes about the what else you can do it. If there is a possibility, not right now, but if there is a possibility of swimming, because hydrotherapy is the best thing which you can do, because it strengthens the muscles and it doesn't affect the joint, and that is something. So hydrotherapy could be in the form of swimming pool or a kind of pond, or maybe if someone has a kind of underwater treadmill, those can be used, and that's another thing. So I'm just telling to kind of things which are without medications.
Right.
Third thing, which I will advise the kind of your dog, omega fatty acid. Please put him on lifelong on omega fatty acid. Omega fatty acid will help him more than glucosamine and other things actually. And so that's something you can take from the market, or like you can buy, like there's so many commercially available products are available, omega fatty acid, or olive oil or sunflower oil is a good source of omega fatty acid. Then comes about glucosamine. There are so many companies, they supplies like Controvat or Cosiquin, or there are so many companies, they're making it actually that can be used as per the recommendations. It is always advisable to give some anti-inflammatory using like carprofen or meloxicam in case you're showing some discomfort and getting up and all those kind of things. It is advisable to use anti-inflammatory to keep his pain low actually. So these are the things I can advise you right now.
Okay, thank you. We learned a lot today, although we've been dealing with it for a while. So thank you for that info. Ritika Baharani says she has a Shih Tzu female, 2 years old, very fussy for eating, doesn't like to have food.
Okay. Yeah, so first thing is, sorry, I didn't get, what's her name?
Ritika.
Ritika, yeah. So first thing is the breed Ritika has. That breed is actually by birth fussy breed. Pomeranian and Spitz and Lhasa Apso and Shih Tzu, these are fussy breeds, and they behave like that. So like there are two kind of breeds are there. Like one category of kind of breeds are there which behave like German or Russians. They're born to eat actually. So they're born to eat, and that's how this, like Labrador is there, Golden Retriever is there. These breeds are born to eat. Some breeds are there, they are born, so they are basically eat only to live. So these are
that's
like
my Labrador, yes.
Yeah, so like your the Shih Tzu is one of them. So they eat only to live. They will eat only as much as required, and I think that's okay as long as dog is active, playful, at least once in a day he's eating food, I think that's more than enough. So he should not be all the time focusing in food, and this will spoil the behavior of that pet. In my
Yes.
opinion, if the dog is otherwise okay, his weight is what is he need, the weight is there, and he doesn't have a clinical sickness, it's okay. If the dog is eating once in a day, it's fairly okay. And if he's not eating, and he once in, like for example, like even 2 days he has not eaten actually, then there are some like some kind of medications are there which can act as an appetizer. One of them is one cyprohepatidine tablet or syrup comes, maybe half teaspoons you can use every day for 5 days, but safe. And half teaspoon can be given, which will help to boost up the appetite. And sometimes competitive behavior can be another thing, which if he has another pet or his neighbor has another pet, they can start feeding them together. So competition they can eat better than, but I think it's a more a part of socialization that can be used actually. But as long as dog is active, playful, and his weight is maintained, she should not bother too much.
Right. Thank you. Ritika, I hope that answered your question. If you have any follow-up, let us know. Ani Gupta is saying, my lab is 10 years old, suffering from perianal fistulae. Please suggest me a diet for him.
Is it German Shepherd?
Lab.
Labrador. Perineal fistula. See, perineal fistula, if it has been diagnosed as a perineal fistula, then it is an autoimmune disease actually. Diet don't play too much of a role in that, but yes, any diet which has fatty acid should be helpful. And fistula can be very painful, and it can actually kind of get much deeper, and it can cause lots of discomfort to the animal. The best thing is he should talk to some doctor who is a dermatologist and has a good knowledge of dermatology. There are medications like immunosuppressive medications. Sometimes if it's an infection, then antibiotic would be required, and a good cleaning and a kind of hygiene practice is required. Regarding the diet, I can advise him that he should focus on low-fat diet again. There are some commercial gastrointestinal diets available, like Science Plan has that kind of ID food or gastrointestinal diet, or Royal Canin has gastrointestinal diet. So those diets are the best type which are recommended for this one, which will not put too much of pressure on his kind of rectal area, and at least the pain and other things can be reduced, and plus he will have less flatulence and all those. So it will keep him comfortable. But as such, if it is a perineal fistula, it is not too much of diet concern actually, and he should give the kind of vegetables more. Like he should have a kind of normal bowel movement actually for that, so he can increase vegetables in the diet as well.
Okay, so my mother-in-law is here, so I have to ask her question for sure. And
okay, well, you're all familiar, I think.
It's about Pasha only, my German Shepherd. So she's saying, does vitamin C help his osteoarthritis?
So there is no, as such, any literature which says that okay, vitamin C is going to help. Kind of it has been kind of recommended in many kind of books and other things, but there's no specific study which has run that it has helped it. But vitamin C by itself is an antioxidant. It will help to reduce the damage of the cells, so it will have a generalized effect rather than a specific effect on the joints. So it will help overall everywhere. Like the coronavirus also, they're taking vitamin C, so it will have a general effect because it helps with the immunity and it acts as an antioxidant. So it's no side effects. It can be used, so you can use it, but not specific for the joints actually.
Okay. Thank you. Kritika is saying she has a golden retriever who's 1 year old. What food is best for him?
As a golden retriever of
1 year old.
1 year old. Okay, it's a golden retriever.
Yeah.
Is it a golden retriever?
Golden retriever, yes.
Yeah, so he's right now a growing dog. So normally the Labrador or golden retriever, they grow till 16 months of age. So he need a growing food right now. So any dog with any food which has comparatively good amount of protein, and so right now the food which has, I think it need more, in my opinion, being it's a growing dog and Labrador, if it's an active dog, the comparatively he need almost as compared to the adult dog, he need at least 5% of extra protein amount. Carbohydrate is okay, he need, that's fine, but he need fat also more and need protein also more. He need much more vitamins, almost 6 times than the adult dog. So that's something is a requirement. But if she's asking what is the best food, it's a quite a difficult question to answer. because it depends upon their what kind of food at home they eat. But my opinion, like now, so they can use some protein source, like egg can be protein source, chicken can be protein source, beef or other ingredient can be used, fish can be a protein source. So that should, so they need much more protein than what human need. They need
Right.
almost 3 to 4 times more than that. So the protein becomes very, very essential part for him. Then carbohydrate source can be used, like the rice can be used, even the bread or chapati can be used as a carbohydrate source, but they don't need too much of carbohydrate as much we need actually. So the protein should be the main component, carbohydrate should be the second component, and fat should be the third component which they need. Vegetables are not as much as helpful for the dog, but it's very important for their bowel satisfaction. But they should use vegetables like carrot, cucumber, bean, beetroot, pumpkin. These kind of vegetables can be added. And if they have availability of some ready-made dog food, there are so many dog foods are available as per the breed, as per
Yes.
the age. Junior food, like there's so many companies are there in India now, which are pretty balanced diets, and they're really good commercial balanced diets are available, so they can discuss with their veterinarian so they can take it any of the food which is recommended by veterinarian.
Thank you. Very nice username. Cat is cutest is saying my female golden retriever had rickets when she was 4 months. I'm giving her Romovin for joint strength daily. Is that okay? She's now 5 years old.
Okay, so see, what's her age now?
5 now. 5 years.
5 months or 5 years?
5 years. 5 years now, and she
Five
was
years.
diagnosed at 4 months.
Yeah, so rickets is a kind of problem which is only will be staying only during that age, and after that, if you have rectified it, and normally rickets, if you taken well taken care of the diet and supplement and everything, so you can kind of reverse that cycle in almost in 6 months. After that, you don't need to worry for the rickets part if everything is okay. Now, giving medications is not going to help because bone has already matured it, and the bone has already developed an epiphyseal. So bone, what happens by the age of 14 or 15 months, there is something we call this epiphyseal closure that has already happened. So I don't think so. Any medications are really going to make any difference unless until dog has some medical problem like osteoarthritis is there or the joint pain is there or those kind of things. Otherwise, medications are not recommended. A good balanced diet and a good weight management is which is I will enforce it and I will advise you that you take care. But medications are not recommended actually. Now, giving calcium, phosphorus will not help unless until there is a proven deficiency.
So I think Cat is cutest. You should go to, if you're in any of the cities that Dr. Pawan Kumar has his clinics, maybe you can visit them for a more detailed checkup. I have another question now from Ankita. She's saying it's been 4 days and my dog, Lab, who's 6 years old, is not feeding properly. Her vet has given some medicines also, but still she's not sounding good. Please suggest me some homemade food for her.
Okay, I think if the dog is otherwise fairly active, and if dog is fairly active and it is not eating the complete food, it's eating less food, then my suggestion would be there is that there are some you need to probably during this time because if it is the dog is in North India because now summer is picking up
Right.
and the weather is changing it, so whole metabolism gets changed actually. Animal do undergo sometime inappetence during this time. And I probably will suggest you that this time the two things becomes very important. Maybe they need to give less food, but the food should be quality food, which has more calorie, more energy. So they can use something like quality food like chicken they can use if they are okay with the non-veg. That's what I will suggest you. Or they can use mutton, or they can use the egg, or they can use fish actually, because that'll be more palatable. It will give the exact required calorie and energy and every or and plus the metabolic requirement. Then apart from they can use egg. That is another thing. And I think these are the things I'll recommend it. But otherwise, there are some palatable food available like in market which are wet food, like half wet and half solid kind of food available. Those can be added into their regular diet as the
Okay.
like toppings actually. So what you can do is like for example, some company make like recovery food or AD food or those are there. So those like whatever the main food is there, like you can put in the bowl. But these food recovery or AD and these food can be put as a topping. And normally dog has a habit. First they will start eating the food, that wet food, because that is very palatable, and then they will just continue eating whatever food is there because they come into the cycle of eating. So that is one behavioral thing they can do it. and other some options of chicken, mutton, or egg. I told you, give the quality food which gives more energy in the less volume, and ensure they're giving lots of water, because hydration becomes most important at that time. And if the dog is still not eating and still not coming, I think there's another medical concern which I think veterinarians should check and
Right.
get it. If the dog is just not eating, I think they should focus on getting the diagnosis.
Right. Okay, so my mother-in-law is now asking about her own dog, which is a 12-year-old Akita. She's saying he
Okay.
cannot hold his urine. As soon as he drinks water, he urinates. What can she do?
Is this dog neutered?
No.
This dog is not neutered. And what's the dog age you told? 6 years.
12 years.
12 years.
Yeah.
Okay. And since how long he's showing these kind of symptoms actually?
For last couple of months.
Okay. So see, there's two reasons. Then I think if the dog, ideally there is no relationship that he drink water and he should pass urine immediately, because these are two different systems. One is the alimentary system, another is urinary system. So actually there's no relationship. This dog can have 2-3 issues. If this dog is neutered, then they can have a hormonal deficiency, and because of that, the control of urinary bladder goes down, and that because of deficiency of hormone, they will have a kind of weak bladder, and it will keep kind of the urine can just keep coming out. So that is happens with the neutered dog.
He's not neutered.
Yes, if it's not neutered, then there is a high possibility he might have a prostate gland problem actually. So you should focus on diagnosing the prostatitis or prostate abscess or prostate tumor. And third reason can be neurological actually, like this. So all the bladder control is in the control of spinal cord, and whether it's a human or dog or anyone. So whenever bladder is full, then it will make a kind of urge that okay, just go and pass urine. But if the animal is passing anywhere without any control, then there can be a problem with the neurological part. I think he need a good neurological check, and that can be done easily by any qualified veterinarian, because there can be issue of like lumbosacral stenosis or pelvic nerve paralysis, and it can be sometimes UTI also. If the urine is smelling a little abnormal, then I think UTI should be the kind of. I will not be able to recommend what medication to give, but I think the primary diagnosis is more important here. So prostate, pelvic nerve paralysis, or spondylosis, or spinal cord issues, and or could be urinary tract infection. You should try to diagnose those things.
Okay, thank you. Ritika, who has the Shih Tzu, is also asking what supplement she should give her dog so she won't have future problems like arthritis.
It's a Shih Tzu. First thing is Shih Tzu, she don't need to worry too much, because it's not a large breed to worry about osteoarthritis, because osteoarthritis normally happens with the large breed like Labrador, Saint Bernard, Rottweiler, German Shepherd, and these kind of breed more. But yes, Shih Tzu, very, very rarely they get. So the only thing, the precaution which I mentioned when I started talking to you about weight management, is the most important precautions. The cheapest and the best precautions, if they can keep the weight to the desirable and ideal level. Like for a Shih Tzu, the ideal weight is 6 to 7 kg. If they can maintain around that kind of weight, I think that's the best they can do it. And otherwise, they can start some kind of protective like omega fatty acid that can be given, because Shih Tzu is a hairy breed. They need much more omega fatty acid than the regular breed. She can start supplementing right now itself. That will help the joint as well as the skin in general. And glucosamine and other things are optional that can be given, but I will not really recommend that right now if the dog is not diagnosed with any osteoarthritis or that kind of problem. But I think the weight and swimming is two things which I can strongly recommend to her.
Okay. We had an offline question as well from Gitanjali, so I'm going to get it in because she sent it before anyone. I don't know if she's online, but she said, how many times does a cat go in heat in a month? Is it normal if it's going in heat 2 times a month?
Yeah, it's possible. They can go in heat 2 times in a month also, because cats by nature, they are induced ovulator actually. They are not like dog, they will come in heat and then cycle will go and the mating will happen. So whenever there is a mating happens, then only the ovulation happens for cats actually. So they can come in heat. Actually, sometimes they deliver today and after 2 weeks they are in heat again actually. So they very irregular kind of patterns cat follows. So yes, the cat can be in heat in 2 weeks. So that's a normal thing. And what you can't do anything to prevent it. Either the cat has to be mated or you have to spay her. And I think I will recommend, in case she's not very pro that she want to make the cat mated and that she's thinking about having kittens and all those things, then it is worth to go for mating. If the cat has achieved more than 16 months of age, if the cat, she can go ahead with the mating. And if she doesn't want the kittens and all those, it is wise and worth to think about doing the spaying, because this cat will be coming into heat and vocalizations, discomfort, running away from home, all can be issues actually. That.
Okay. Okay. Hi, Omi Auntie. Okay, so she's saying she has an English retriever just over a year old. Gave him Bravesto for an anti-tick prevention, but I find alive ticks falling off. How do I know it's working, as it is an expensive pill? Thanks.
Yeah. So if the live ticks are falling off, then it probably is meaning that ticks are actually, that medicine is working. Because if those are coming out, so it means the medicines are, because those ticks will eventually die because they have, so normally this tablet get absorbed into the stream and comes into the cutaneous area, and it makes slowly kind of, it's a kind of, it make a repulsive kind of situations for the ticks to leave the body. And if the ticks are leaving the body, then it means it's working after that.
Okay, Cat is Cutest has another question. My golden retriever doesn't like dog food or non-veg. She likes dal rice and little ghee. Is that okay?
Yeah, so I think it is not what dog likes, because they have basically not trained him from the starting, because they kept fulfilling his demands, whatever he kept demanding. And he's more, normally by nature, they like fat more, because that's something can be there. What happens, so whenever, what they are doing it from, I think from the quite some time, if I probably, they probably can ask this question to themselves. When the dog came, so for their time came when they started offering this rice and ghee and other thing, and he started liking it. And there are situations came when they started giving this ready-made food, or maybe the food like this, which is healthy food, and he's not eating that food. So normally when he doesn't eat that dog food or any food which is they made it, so what normally they do it actually, they will wait for half an hour, they will wait for 45 minutes, and then they will give him that same, that ghee rice and other things actually. So basically, they're training their dog not to eat the food what is meant for him to eat. But so basically, he will avoid that half an hour or 45 minutes. He will wait for that because he knows that he's going to get something what he likes, and that's how they are training him. And they have trained him for a long time for this. I think they need to reverse the cycle. And it is definitely not healthy to give him ghee and all those things. I would probably suggest they should train him for a healthy diet. It will take time, but if they're patient, they can do it.
Yeah. Keep a window of 10 to 15 minutes. If the dog is not eating in that, take away the food bowl and wait till next meal time. So then they start learning that they have to eat what is given.
This is a good thing. What you're saying is I agree with that completely. So they should not train him to even wait for half an hour. Keep the food for 10 minutes. If he doesn't eat, better keep the food. And this way the dry foods are best because it doesn't get spoiled actually. So you can just keep it, wait for 10 minutes, he didn't eat. That idiot is going to again be hungry by evening, is going to eat. So please, I think that practice should come after that. So that's something need to be trained. Yeah.
Kaval has a question about his 7-year-old Labrador. He's saying he's getting anal infection. The poop area is swelling. It is little dark brown liquid and it is passe. I don't know what that means.
Okay, passe, I think it's.
Okay,
yeah. So this dog probably has anal sacculitis. So around the, so nature has given dog to gland, or we call it is anal sac, around the anus at 4 o'clock and 8 o'clock position. This gland by nature has given, because this act as a kind of, for a sensations for the other dogs, for them to know that, okay, this is the territory of the dog. But being when the dogs became domestic, so this organ doesn't have too much of function. Because there's no release happens of that kind of liquid from inside. So we normally advise in grooming that once in 2 or 3 months they should regularly clean those anal sac. But if it is not cleaned and not got evacuated well, it got impacted and it becomes abscess and infections, and it's very painful. And if already the dog is pussing too much, it is advisable to get the anal sacculectomy done. This is surgery where this anal sac can be removed, and that is the kind of thing which is recommended, because this problem will be keep reoccurring otherwise. It is better to talk to a good doctor and who has a knowledge of surgery to get this removed, and better to do the anal sacculectomy. That's what I'll advise there.
Okay. Next is, I think a lot of people are would like to know about this. Sindhu is asking, with the current situation around COVID-19, although there's no evidence that dogs can or cannot contract the virus, are there any precautions we need to take and symptoms to look for?
Okay, so first thing, kind of as such, yeah, like in Hong Kong, they have shown one or two dogs, and they have come up with those that they came COVID very, very mild positive. Now comes about, so there is no where so far there is a fact that the pets has kind of got infected with the in a normal condition that dogs or pets or those has got infected with the coronavirus, and they have transmitted to the human as well. So there's no kind of literature says yet, and there is no case has been recorded also yet. So from that perspective, they are absolutely safe. So that neither human is transmitting to the dogs or cats or other pet animals like rabbit and other, and neither they are getting from kind of from the pet animals to the human also. But the one very important thing which comes, like for example, I am going outside and I deal with someone who has a coronavirus, and I taken my all the protections, wearing mask and all those things. But my cloth, my my surface, and which we call it is as fomite, that
Right.
is still can transmit to the other people. And same way for the dog also, because his skin is there, his hair is there, that can act as a fomite, and they can touch that. If, for example, one person has a coronavirus or COVID-19 infection, he's coughing on his dog, and someone touches the dog and he licks and he smells and other things. So it can go. So it can go indirectly, but not that he's infected, and through that we can go. So what else can be done? I think any people who are handling the dogs or something, they should wash their hand regularly as possible, wear gloves if possible, and of course wearing the mask and on anything when in interaction. And probably grooming of a dog is another thing which I will recommend. Any normal antiseptic shampoo and other things are taking care of that. So grooming of pet becomes another essential part regularly that should be taken care. I think these things I will recommend kind of to the pet parents, and which they to take care of that.
Okay. And I had a question from Deepak saying, any home remedies for ticks?
Okay, so the very important home remedy is there. I think the person who is having a dog, he should spend some time with the dog. The best thing is the prevention. The prevention is the most important thing. The ticks directly doesn't come actually there. Directly, ticks comes when the dog goes for a walk, and the
Right.
dog probably, or when they interact with any dog which is already having ticks. So whenever they take dog, they, whenever they're taking their dog for a walk, I will probably request them when they come back from the walk, they should brush their dog thoroughly. Actually, maybe just spend 5 minutes more and brush him, because
Okay.
ticks has come from outside. They will not multiply, and they can take care with that part. So that is the very, very simple but very effective thing, and they can 100% take care of that. Whenever they talk their dog for a walk, whenever dog is gone for a walk and come back, do a good brushing, because ticks directly doesn't jump from the air. Actually, it comes from the
Right.
paws or from some other areas. So that is one thing they can do it. Second thing, right now, I think because everyone is locked down inside and they have lots of time and other thing, they can give a good brushing and good bath. And there are some medicated shampoos that are available which are tick free, or which veterinarian can recommend, which can be done at home itself. So they can give a good bath and shampooing, and which can eradicate it. Apart from that, some people they use garlic and all those kind of things, but there's no scientific kind of approval yet. I would probably advise, kind of, I don't have any experience also with that, so I can't recommend it.
Plus the
And I
smell.
probably uh, not really actually. The ticks normally, ticks is connected to the blood vessels actually, so they need something in a different way actually. That's why I don't think so that really work. But yes, still I think studies need to be done. But I think I will focus more on prevention, like doing a good brushing, and probably giving a good shampoo bath, and using some kind of shampoo which has some kind of anti-tick property, and that's a home remedy could be the best thing. But anything orally giving, any kind of onion, garlic, another thing, I don't think so. I will probably recommend it, because I don't have any experience, and we have not, the many client has used, but with very, very unpredictable results.
Right. Thank you. Okay, so Rana, our founder of DogSpot, is asking, is getting vaccination for puppies an emergency task for pet owners during this lockdown?
Okay, no, sorry, I didn't get his question.
So
Can you
he's
tell?
asking, is vaccination an emergency task for pet owners during lockdown, or they can wait, I guess?
Yeah, so I think that's a good question he's asking, because right now our reception is getting kind of flooded with these questions, because they're getting that my dog's vaccination is due and can we come? And in fact, some clients are coming like this. Their vaccination is due in the June, but they want to come before, because this COVID has made such kind of fear that okay, with the vaccine will prevent it, but COVID is different and their diseases are different actually. So I will probably split this his question in two parts. The dog which are adult, which are more than 6 months of age, if their vaccinations are due also, still they can wait for 1 week or 2 weeks or 1 month, nothing going to happen. Because whatever vaccinations are given, those will have enough immunity to take care of this part. So for adult dog or the dog which are more than 6 months or 7 months of age, for them they don't need to worry. They can, even the vaccine is due, they can wait for 1 month or 2 months, not to worry. But if they're puppy like 45 days or 50 days or something, for them it is crucial because they can pick up infection. And for them, I will advise that puppies can be vaccinated if they're within 3-4 months of age. But dogs which are 6 months or above that, they can wait very easily. There's not to worry for that part. So that's how I can probably advise that part to them.
Thank you. So Omi auntie has another question. She's saying, how does one disinfect the dog paws?
Dog paws. Okay, same way as we do our hands, so they can do it. So whenever, yeah, that's something is because anyway, because the dog is going outside and they're coming back and they can bring infections and other things. So I think one way is using the bleaching powder, very diluted bleaching powder can be used. Potassium permanganate is there, I think very common, very cheaply available. KMNO4, which we call it, is they can dilute it they can make a solution, we call it Pondi solution. 1 pinch in half-liter of water. I'm just giving you kind of a rough idea that 1 pinch in the half-liter of 1 liter of water that can be used to kind of do a foot bath. And even Savlon, diluted Savlon can be used, which is the other common things which is available. And so these common things I can bleaching, very diluted bleaching powder. Then apart from that, your Camino for potassium permanganate, very diluted, and then Savlon, very diluted, which can be used for giving. So they can dip it, like one small hand towel can be dipped inside there, and they can wipe it off nicely, and then they'll dry it off, and the dog can be allowed inside. So that can be used.
That's what we've been doing with our dogs. Every time they come back from a walk, we do a Savlon diluted solution and we wipe their paws with.
That's perfect. Or you can just dip their paws directly inside that solution and then you can wipe it off.
Yeah.
So if they have a contact time of almost a minute, that's more than enough. So that will take care. Actually, 20 seconds as they're recommending, that's more than enough.
Okay. Thank you. Cherin is saying, please tell us about Bravecto.
Okay, so Bravecto is a kind of medication which has been used like from almost a year. It is come in India, though this tablet was quite available in other developed countries, particularly the Western countries like USA, UK, and all those countries. Actually, this is available for many years, and they were using it quite effectively there. As far as Bravecto has come in India very recently. So first thing which we need to understand actually. See, Bravecto these all chemicals are made to take care, kind of kill external parasite like ticks and fleas and all those kind of things. These medication has its own poisoning effect. Like for example, for the ticks and fleas, either we use some sprays which also has a poisoning effect, which we use on the surface. Then we use chemical-based shampoos like pyrethroid-based shampoos, like which has pyrethroid. So those also has a chemical which are poisoning actually. Then there are some spot on they are using it, which we put on the neck area and then we use. So those also get absorbed in the body and those also has its own poisoning effect. So everything what is used for the ticks and fleas has a poisoning effect. But Bravecto has a minimal poisoning effect because it's been given orally actually. And but if you say that is it absolutely safe medication? No, it's not absolutely safe. Like for example, if I tell that is crocin is a safe medicine? No. Crocin also, like normal fever medicine what we take, paracetamol, everything has a kind of its effect. But if it is given in a healthy dog, which is like an adult more than 4 or 5 months of age dog, and he's a fairly healthy, no issue of like any kind of cancer, kidney failure, liver failure, or cardiac failure, those kind of issues, then you can use it without any problem. So it can be used. So that's something I will advise. If the dog is only having some kind of metabolic issues or serious disease, then I will advise better find some other way of to take care of ticks and fleas. A healthy dog, it can be given, kind of without any much problem.
Okay, so my mom-in-law is asking, today in our colony there was a dog who was coughing. So obviously kennel cough. What can I do to make sure my dogs don't get it since they walk on the same road?
Okay, so yeah, so the easiest way is change the route. Yeah, so that's something I will recommend. In case the dog is a street dog, then I think it's more easier for you to, because you can avoid that route and do it. But if this problem only will come when these two dogs are constantly in touch with them for longer time. One time of interaction will not cause this kind of problem.
Okay.
But if they're constantly staying in interaction for more than 15 minutes or that kind of thing, then yes, it can cause that, disease can get transferred. I will probably, I think, she need to find all the ways and mean that this dog, if, for example, there are many in dogs in societies, they go together for walk actually.
Yeah.
And if one dog has a kind of kennel cough and another dog can get, yes, if then they are going together for walk, I will advise hold on for that walk for till that, it's a 2 weeks kind of disease. So better they go for walk separately. And once the disease is cured, yes, we can mix them again together. But if it is a street dog and if he comes like for once in a while, like a little distant kind of interaction happens, it's fine. You don't need to worry too much. But if there are too many dogs out there coughing and taking it, it may not be kennel cough. It can be kennel distemper also. So you need to be careful for that as well. So best thing is you better change your route for some time.
Okay.
So that's the time, yes, yeah.
So reply to Mohit also has a COVID-19 related question. So he's saying, so after a walk, do we need to take specific precautions? I mean, after every walk, please advise.
I think I can suggest him, the first thing comes about the paw need to be washed. That is only one thing which I can recommend it to him. That's I think is the most important part at this time. If they can take care of the kind of foot bath, that is something can be done the way you're doing it, like using the dialysis or another thing. They can use if they're really getting too much of concern, but I will not really recommend that is required that give them watch or other things, because it is not a really airborne disease. It is more droplet disease actually. So right now there is no one on the roads actually. So, there's no human being is actually on the road, so they can take safely for walk, and there's not something to worry. Unless until they came encountered some people during the walk and they were having some kind of history of coughing and sneezing and other thing, then it will be advisable that we can give a kind of sponge wipe or that actually to his dog. Otherwise, not to worry actually. The foot bath is something I'll recommend. And plus at home, otherwise also he should do a good grooming for the dog.
So I just want to say, because of all the COVID-19 questions, everyone, please, it's again not transmitted by dogs or your cats. There is no studies to show that. Please don't abandon them, first of all. And second of all, it is a little bit of an extra work, but it's worth it. You have peace of mind every time they go for a walk. You can keep the solution outside next to your door. When they come back, just spend 20 seconds doing this. It doesn't take a lot of work. In our house, total, we have 4 dogs and we walk them 4 times and we're doing this every time. So, it's worth it because, they're family to us. They're part of our family. I would do anything to keep them safe, keep us safe. So.
Yeah, I completely agree with that part. I think because we get quite a bit of call, and particularly for those clients, because actually like in our hospitals also, 1 or 2 owners, they have kind of left their dog and they they're not traceable actually, so they're abandoning them. And I think that something is a much more kind of sin than corona which can happen. And you can understand what situation those animals going through. First thing is it is not getting transmitted through the animals. Second thing is you can take some precautionary measures, which is very well the way you're taking care for your vegetables, sabzi, and all those kind of things. You can take those measures and take care of them. I think this is the best time when they can really spend good time with their pets and they can actually connect with them, and I think they can understand them better because they don't have anything to do right now, so they can do this actually. And the animal will return back him and keeping him happy and healthy. And this is a good time they can go for a walk, but in a careful manner they can go for a walk and they can play actually, because they're only playing with a dog actually, not with the human, so you can interact with them, so not to worry. So I think, and one more thing which I'm realizing actually, like I've seen in my vicinity and society, many street dogs are there around, and they're not getting food right now.
Yeah.
Because human is gone into a lockdown stage and they are not coming out. So many street dogs, we were dependent on some kind of restaurants or some kind of small these kitchens and other thing, and maybe on whatever thrown out actually that so from the people they're not getting food. So please be little considerate. If they can cook little extra food for those animals and they can just step out and give food to them, I think it is probably going to make a difference to them at least. So I think they can just take one extra step to consider animals also, because this corona
Yes.
has come because I think because
Yes.
we should respect animals and we should not expect another outbreak actually that. So I think I will fully advise that part.
No, that's a very good point as well. Thank you so much. A lot of organizations out there who are feeding. If you don't want to go out and feed these dogs, you can support these organizations. You know,
Yeah.
they're always short of funds. Send some money. Sitting at home, you can do an e-transfer. They'll go out and feed the dogs. I see online, you know, a lot of good people doing a lot of good work. So please, you know, we're a dog lovers community here at DogSpot. You know, support these dogs as well.
We appreciate that.
Yes. Cherian, thank you. This session will be there for 24 hours. So anyone who wants to see later and go through the questions that Dr. Pawan Kumar is answering, and you know, you can increase your knowledge. And I have a Pixie Dusted Star. She's asking follow-up to the vaccination question. I think that Rana had asked. If the puppy has already had their initial shot of puppy DP at 45 days and DHPPIL at 65 days, should we wait for the booster or get that done on priority?
So one they did 45 days and then they are done 2 vaccination already, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
45 days and 65 days are done.
So whenever it is that next due date is there, they should get it vaccinated. For being it's a puppy, I will advise that they should get it vaccinated whenever the due date is mentioned by the doctor.
Okay. Cherian is asking, can you discuss a safe tick and flea treatment for puppies and a pregnant bitch?
Okay. Yeah, I think here, so they can use, I think the grooming becomes the most important. Yeah, the grooming. So I think I think the pregnancy doesn't happen just like that. And there will be a plan actually that they are going to mate and all those kind of things. So first thing is don't let the ticks comes actually. If someone is mating a dog and the ticks are there, I think it is a kind of negligence from the owner side. Because then it means he need to take care of that. You know, he should be considerate because ticks can cause lots of serious problem for the mother, because that time animal is under lots of stress, and there are lots of disease which are hidden disease can actually come into the surface, like tick-borne disease and all can come.
Sorry, I think Instagram cut us out. So
okay, no worry. So I think we were discussing some question okay, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. You were saying about the prevention only. One question I had seen was someone was, what are the symptoms of COVID-19? But I don't know if she was asking for pets or for humans.
Okay, so for human, I think even a kid who has not born also, he knows the sign actually, what signs are there. But for the dogs, there's no sign, so there's not to worry for that part because there's no symptom has been shown. And but for human, it is very clear that initially they will have a sign of kind of respiratory distress like sneezing, dry cough, and then fever will be there. And fevers, kind of it's just like a viral infection. We keep going high, and normally in COVID-19 infection, the fever will be more than 100 actually. So it could be between 101 to 102 or more than that. And dry cough is another sign. This will not be a productive cough. It will be a completely dry cough. Sore throat is another sign. And if it is sometime they get a common cold or a flu or normal cold, so normally if they take some basic remedies, it's going to respond within 3 days or 4 days. And if it is COVID-19 or something, then it might progress further. I think they can probably act after 3 or 4 days rather than immediately kind of jumping into kind of diagnosis. So they can hold on for 3 to 4 days. And if the condition is improved, then they are safe. So there's no need to worry, don't need to test anything. But even after 4 or 5 days, the symptoms of coughing and sneezing and fever persist. It'll be more advisable to approach to that helpline number rather than going to the hospitals actually. So better they should kind of treat themselves from home and then take the kind of decision further. So I think I'm not qualified to answer that. Better the approach further.
Okay, but we were talking about the Pro Max, that it's
So
available
you're
in
discussing that,
UAE.
yeah. So there are lots of, like, I think your DogSpot is the best, which can tell there are so many probiotics available on there, and which can be used and which is kind of available. So Promax is there, but yeah, we were talking about the diarrhea part. So diarrhea is a more generalized kind of symptom. It can happen in many diseases. It can happen in poisoning, cancer, parvovirus infection, coronavirus infection. So many things can cause actually that, kind of diarrhea. But if it is because of indigestion, I think that's what she's thinking about, because many times diarrhea happens because of indigestion, where, a little bit of food change can lead to, kind of digestive issues. So for that, I can probably advise you can use probiotics. There are lots of available. Human one can very safely use without any problem. Promax is there, Sporulac, and lots of, even the buttermilk can be used actually, which is equally kind of
Okay.
effective. So that's something I can. So there are lots of available funds. Like when we see the market, there's a really huge market for probiotics in India as well. So any commonly available can be used.
Yakul Rana is saying. Okay.
Yeah.
So during this lockdown, how can pet parents mentally stimulate their dogs, and what are the exercises they can do with their dogs?
Okay, so that's a pretty good question. I think during this time, everyone is getting bored at home and everyone is like fighting. I think now the people are saying that, that they didn't realize that husband is worse than mother-in-law actually. So they're thinking like that. So I think this is the time when they can utilize the pets are the great bond actually. And those families are actually much more happier to have pet at home, because there is
Yes.
something for them to do it and there's something for them to play it actually. Because you are not going to kind of spend so much time with your husband and your brother and sister, but pets will be the happiest and make you happiest. So first thing is, I think 3-4 things which I can recommend at this time. First thing is you can spend time in brushing and grooming of your pet, and that make him happy and you happy. It could be dog, it could be cat. Second thing, you can have certain toys which you feel not need to be very expensive, but certain toys which you feel could be meaningful during this time. Like for cat, there are so many toys are there which you can make them using uh, that kind of cave or cuddle kind of things, where they can just
Yeah.
keep going and using the laser or using some kind of, you can make at home also. If you can't go to a pet store, you can just make at home, because they don't need fancy kind of toys actually, and you can just keep making them playing, and and they're really really very interactive, make planting them too. So one thing comes about the physical exercise. Second thing comes about mental. Second thing comes very important is mental enrichment. In the sense, the way you are watching WhatsApp and video and all those things, cat or dog also need a mental enrichment that make their life better. They make them happy and they stay much more healthier actually. So mental and physical health is important. So lots of toys which you can make at home and you can use for playing for the pets. For dogs, I think uh, one thing which comes about using the hide and seek at home, which can be
Right.
used using, which is very simple and very playful thing. You can use some treat, just hide it anywhere. A small piece of the treat you can hide anywhere. Let him go, bring it, and then kind of keep playing. You can use, like, if you have a kind of a terrace or you have a kind of parking area, you can use, like, the people, they throw kind of ball and then they bring it. And so that's a great thing. And actually, and I've seen in my apartment everywhere that they're really kind of amazing. They play actually that they can take the dog for a walk. They can take the dog for multiple walks. It can be done actually for them. So that's another thing which can be done. And I think these are some resources for mental enrichment and playing which can be done. And I think just spending time with them, sitting with them, petting with them, I think that itself is quite. So like every touch secretes lots of good hormones, and I think oxytocin is one of them.
Yeah.
I think that itself is very important. So if you touch your animal, play with him, cuddle with him, talk to him, so that itself is a great stimulating and mental enrichment. The way we hug and we feel better, when you touch them and pet them, they feel better. So I think these things can be done at home.
Definitely. You know, Doctor, you're so passionate about veterinary care in India, and I mean, it's been really a pleasure talking to you, and you've answered some great questions. I wanted to ask you, for young people who are thinking about becoming a vet or who are pet lovers, but a lot of people in India don't consider this as first choice profession. So still even, so what
Mhm.
advice would you give them?
Okay, so first thing is like, yeah, maybe 10 years before, definitely veterinary was the third or fourth choice actually for medical people who think about medical. But now when I go to veterinary college and when I see it, actually there are some students, they have got actually seat in medical also, but they still wants to become veterinarian.
Okay.
I can see that really. So that's the change which is happening. At least 10% population is like that in veterinary college, and that's something which never used to be a situations when
Yeah.
we were studying. So that's some change is happening, and I can see students. So I'm just taking these questions in a little more elaborate way. And now in our hospitals, actually, from many international schools, actually, student comes like from the 10th or 9th, they come and they do volunteering for almost 6 months or 1 year. And they actually, because why they want to experience how is a veterinarian, and they actually, most of them, they want to become veterinarian now actually. And they're going to they joined veterinary colleges or they go to different countries and they want to do it. Now the thing comes about, what is my kind of suggestions, kind of about the career part actually, how the student. So there are two different things are there. One is because any job we are thinking it, we always think about the economic output of that actually.
Yeah.
And the second thing what we think, but I think uh, if I don't mind, if I'm not wrong, the millennials are different now. They are
Yeah.
thinking, so they are thinking not only that money comes, they're thinking that there need to be a balance of life also. They need to be, at the end of the day, they need to be happy as well. And I think the veterinary job is best actually, because you treat animal and you treat, because their animals are a little more straightforward, because they are black and white, either I will bite or I will not bite. It's basically only two things. And humans very difficult to understand in that way. So I think it's a little more easier to deal with pets than anything, or animals than anything else. So and now when we talk about it as a career, yeah, it's a really good career. It has a lot of, if they think in a proper way, then it is giving them a mental satisfaction, because they are healing animals and they are doing something for them, and in return they're getting great reward by licking them and by petting them and by seeing that they're recovering back to normal. And regarding the economical part also, I will not say that it's really that bad actually. It's definitely giving a decent life. And I think uh, now the trend is changing actually. When we think about India, I think the clinics or veterinary practice clinics and other things, they're doing pretty good. And I think they are kind of earning wise, they are earning almost equal to the medicos in many cities and other things. There's a great opportunity in grade or like in level B cities, like the small cities. So there lots of opportunities are there. So, and there are lots of, like now when you think about the COVID virus also, so I think the veterinary researchers are number one, which are leading actually that. So then the human researchers. So because
Oh, really?
everything is really, yeah.
It's tied to
So
the animals. Yeah. So.
yeah, so because it's something is need to come from their animals actually. So they need
Yeah.
to research it. So if you see in every aspect actually, so whether research you comes, whether it's a kind of clinical science it comes, whether it's a surgery comes, and India, there's a great opportunity, because veterinary is still primitive. So when it's still primitive, then it means there's lots to do.
No, I also read
Then-
once, sometime, and you're a better person to tell me if it's true or not, that it's actually tougher to become a veterinary doctor than a medical doctor, because you have to learn more anatomies than a human doctor. Human is one, and there's so many animals.
Yeah, so I think quite a bit of study you need to do it. I think these all veterinarians can tell better, because they need to study, except human, they need to study everything. Like we studied cows, buffalo,
Right.
dog, cat, donkey, monkey, everything we have studied actually. That so, and
Wow.
then poultry, birds, and everything. So, but they study in a really deep into human part. We study like during the organizations, whatever we can. But yeah, so yeah, it's a quite a bit of study. There's a lot of study actually there, and every animal has a different anatomy, different biology, different system. So
Right.
yeah, it's a quite a bit of study, but it's worth doing.
And Rana, I think Dr. Kumar said that's a positive. They don't talk to you. They just tell you if they're happy or not.
Yeah. So, so one thing is, I think one thing you need to probably understand, they speak actually. You only need to understand their language because we communicate by English, but they have a
Yeah.
language. And if you really understand them, they actually speak. And in my practice, they can tell you the disease and symptoms to you that if you really understand them. But only thing their language is different after that. So they do speak.
Okay, Dr. Kumar, thank you so much for your time today. And for people who joined a little later, I want to inform you that Dr. Pawan Kumar is doing e-consultations also, and he's doing it globally. His website is cessnalifeline.com. You can go there and fill in the form with initial queries, and somebody from his team will get in touch with you. So you can have peace of mind to know if you have to go to a vet or if something can be resolved at home. And again, Dr. Pawan Kumar, thank you so much for your time. Great session with you. We enjoyed having you and getting all the questions answered. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you so much for doing this. Thank you. Take care.
Bye.